Hi again, this is Enzyme, and in this video I want to show you how you can go about setting up your own home in Second Life. This is something that I'm very excited to cover because I feel like it's a lot easier nowadays on Second Life to set up your own home than what it used to be years ago, just because of the options that you have available now. There can be a bit of a learning curve when it comes to the way that parcels work in Second Life and covenants, and also things like land impact as well. There's other aspects that technically fall into this category as well, such as terraforming and running scripted experiences on the parcel. Although those two things mostly pertain to running a public sim rather than your own private residential parcel, which is what's going to be the focus of this video. How to create and manage a public sim, that's something that I might cover in the future, but for now, we'll just be focusing on how you can create your own home space. There'll be some resources that I'll be using throughout the video, such as furniture and skyboxes, but I'll be leaving links to all of those things in a pastebin file, which I'll put in the description for this video. The first thing to mention is that unless you have premium membership, it's currently not possible to own your own land on Second Life. However, you can still have your own home with a free membership, so that's the first method that I'll be showing you. There'll be some sims where they'll have an apartment or some kind of structure with all the furniture already included, so the only thing that's required of you is to pay the rental fee. Other sims will have their parcel just empty, which means you'll need to find your own home or skybox in the marketplace, and I'll actually be doing this to show you, just to give you an example. So when you come to an empty parcel like this is usually what you'll find. There'll be this dashboard here. This is to control the rent, and if you right click on the land itself, you can see that we have these border lines here in yellow. This just represents the boundary of how far you can place objects and build. So before we can start renting, what we have to do is we need to pick up what's essentially a contract by right clicking on the parcel itself and then clicking on buy this land. So the way this works is you'll see that the price to buy this is 5 lindens, and the reason it's so cheap is just because this is purely just a ties to what's called the covenant or the estate owner, so the rental board will be tied to our account. If you look over to the right here, this will be the terms of service that you have to agree to before you can start renting the parcel. Most of this is pretty obvious stuff, for example, anything that directly violates the Linden Lab policy. So that'll be things like gambling or things that make you Linden, like slot machines. But there will be some things in regards to terraforming, so for example, if you wanted to landscape the boundary of your parcel, there might be a rule that prohibits you from doing that, so it's always worth to double check. So after you've read everything, if you just go ahead and click purchase, you'll get a confirmation up here that you just paid for the parcel. And if you were to right click on the land again and click about land, you can see now that we're tied as the owner and the estate agent is now the covenant. Since we're now the owner of this parcel, we can now res objects, which means we can now res either a mainland home or a skybox to use for our house. The main difference between the two is that a mainland home will res on the same level as your parcel here, whereas the skybox, the idea is that you edit the skybox on the z-axis so that it's going to levitate way up high so that nobody can see it from this level. I'll be giving an example of both of them, but the first step for either is to go to the marketplace and find one that you like. Because there's so many options available, I feel like the best thing to do would be to look through the residential structures page on the marketplace, just so you can get an idea of what it is you might like. Although in this video what I'll be doing is I'll be using one of the homes from the Inverse store. The homes that they have for what they charge are actually really nice looking, and they also have this clean contemporary look, which I think is going to be nice for this video. But I will be leaving links to other stores that I would recommend for both mainland homes and skyboxes in a pastebin file. So I've got one of the homes here unpacked into this folder, and what you'll find is you'll have a few options here for whether you want to have furniture or not. I'll be showing you how to place your own furniture, so I've gone with the unfurnished version. So when you click and drag that onto the ground, you should see this box here, and all you have to do is click on it, and then you'll get the prompt here to res. So when you click that, the house should start resing itself for you. If you don't like where your house is positioned, you can edit the box here and then use the movement tools to put it into a new position. If you find that the terrain in your parcel is either too low or too high where your house is, if you press Ctrl 5, that's going to bring up the land tools. So if you click raise here, we'll see you have this area where there's arrows. So if you hold left click, that's going to raise the terrain up the way. And if you click lower, that's going to bring it back down. And if you also click this box here for smooth, when you hold this down, that's going to remove any rough edges that were left when you were changing the terrain. But once you're happy with the position of your house, you can just delete the box. Once you're inside your home, the next step would be to plot down any furniture you have, although before we do that, I want to go over a few settings in the About Land section very quickly. The General tab will have the name and description for your parcel, which will come by default from your site managers, so if you want you can change it or delete it. If we take a look in the Objects tab, you'll see that we have Parcel Land Capacity and also Parcel Land Impact. So what this means is, whenever you raise an object on your parcel, that object is going to take up some amount of land impact. This will go up as we start increasing furniture, so when you're adding furniture down on your parcel, it's a good idea just to keep an eye on this number, just to make sure that you're not reaching your max capacity. If we go into the Options tab, you'll see that we have permissions here for other residents. I like to turn off build for everyone, so that way it's only me that's allowed to build on my parcel. So with that out of the way, the next step is to put down furniture. There's hundreds of options available for finding furniture in Second Life, although I'll be leaving links in my paste bin to stores that I would recommend, as well as the 60 London Weekend, which is really good for getting furniture at a discounted price. I already own some furniture, so I'll just show you very quickly how I would decorate this house. So you can obviously go a lot more in depth with the amount of things that you can place down, but just to save time for the video, I wanted just to give a very basic idea. The next thing that I'll show you very quickly before we move on is how you can deploy a skybox. So the first step is pretty much the same. We just make sure that we unpack our home and then raise it onto our parcel. Before we place this up in the sky though, the first thing we need to do is raise a prim. If we try to move our skybox at all, what you'll see is our avatar won't go along with it. So what we need to do is we need to link this prim to this skybox so that when we sit on this prim and then move the skybox, it will actually move together. So if we go back to edit a prim, if you hold down shift and then click on the skybox, we'll have both of them selected, and then we just click link and that'll be them linked together. And if we set the value of the z-axis to something really high, you can now see that we're completely off the ground. Remember that our prim here is linked to the skybox, so if we try to delete this, we'll actually delete the whole skybox. So what we need to do is select the face of the prim and then click unlink, and then it should be safe to delete now. If your skybox isn't enclosed and has windows such as this one, it can look kind of empty when you look out to the sky, and if this is the case, you can find something called backdrop surrounds. The one I have that I've unpacked is meant to be a power scene, so it'll normally be an enclosure like this, and then you'll have a prop here. So if I take a look at the window now, you can see this just gives it a bit more depth. So that covers just about everything for the first method. You can rent a parcel, and as long as you have Linden to pay for your upkeep, you can res a mainland home or a skybox and you can get your own furniture to decorate it with. Although there is a second method which involves using premium homes that Second Life can offer, so that's what I want to show you next. So that first method we done where we rented from a parcel, that works, however The main drawback from this is if you decide to take an extended break from playing the game, so let's say that you pay for 1 week's rent, if you go off and do something else and you don't log back in for a few weeks, then your rent will have timed out and your home and all your objects will just be completely gone. I would say that if you're able to log in frequently to update your rent, renting from a parcel is still a good option for you. But if you're like me and you prefer to go away for a few weeks to take a break, it can be really annoying when you come back and everything's gone, and it just turns into this cycle where you have to find a new parcel and then start placing everything back down again. This is actually what got me introduced to Second Life Premium, because one of the benefits from having a premium account is you can own up to 1024 square meters on a parcel, and that's tied directly to the debit that comes off your premium account. So if you have land that's 1024 square meters or less, you're free to put down your house in any objects you want, and as long as you're paying your premium membership, that won't derez at all, it'll just stay. The second benefit from having premium is you can have what's called a Second Life Premium home, which are these pre-built homes that are actually really well designed, and they're a lot better now than what they used to be. The more recent homes, like the houseboats, these all run on London Labs' newest server hardware, so you'll notice it's a lot more smooth compared to renting a parcel or owning a parcel on the mainland. So that's the next thing that I'll show you. I'll show you very quickly how you can have a Second Life Premium home. So once you have Premium set up for your account, you should find this page here. I'll be leaving a link for this in my pastebin, but when you come to this page here, this is how you can set up your Premium home. The first step that we're given here is to select a theme. So the theme is just a region that your homes are listed on. Bellisaria is the latest one, so that's where all these new homes will be, like the houseboat and the traditional ones, but you can also flick through to Meadowbrook, which is the slightly older ones as well. The second step that we're given is to select the type of house that we want, so you can choose from traditional, there's also the houseboat, which is my favourite, Victorian. One thing I'll mention though is the way this works, from what I understand, is choosing a home is first come first serve. So I know that there's a Stout home on water that you can choose from, but because there's none available at the moment, we're not being given the option to select it. So what I find is helpful, if you want to have a certain type of house, sometimes if you just refresh the page and come back, you might find that it's there again. Another thing that I would pay attention to would be this number next to the name of the home. This represents how many square meters it takes up in the parcel. So if you have Premium, you can have up to 1024 square meters tied to your account free of charge. So if you wanted to, if you chose to have, let's say, the camper, that takes up half of that amount, so you can have a second parcel that takes up that remaining 512 and you won't have to pay extra for it. So once you've chosen a house type that you're happy with, all you have to do is come down here and then just give it a name and then click next. Once we've done that, we'll be taken to this confirmation page where we'll get a basic overview of the terms. So we just tick the box to agree and then click accept, and then once we've done that, we should get a location to go to our new home. So we're in front of our Premium home right now, and if you look to my avatar's left here, you'll see this post box. When we click on this post box, we'll have this pop up here, and this will let us select what preset we want to use with this house type. I like to use option number 3, so once you select your option here, the building will derez, and then if you give it a bit of time, it will start to res your new structure. If we take a look inside, you'll find this panel here near the front door. So when you click on this will bring up the control panel for your home. You can change a few things in here, such as the access settings and door. You can toggle that to be always open or closed. But what I like to change in here is if you look in the redecorate option, this actually gives you the option to redecorate different parts of the home. So for example, if you click on walls here, you'll be prompted to select a part of the wall. So if I click on this wall here, and then you can select a color. So if I click on purple, that's going to change that wall to be purple. And then if I select on the white option here, that will change it back to white. So from here, you're pretty much ready to start decorating your home and placing down furniture. Although One more thing that I want to show when it comes to these premium homes is you can get add-ons from the marketplace. Add-ons are basically custom-made extensions that you can buy for the marketplace that upgrade your home. It mainly depends on what home the add-on was made for, but an add-on can include more floors, more rooms, and extensions to the outside areas. So just to show you how this works very quickly, I have an add-on for the Hardy home here, unpacked in this folder. There'll be two things that you want to use. The first thing will be this HUD object here. We want to attach that. And then you'll find this object here where it says res at the end. You want to res this somewhere close to the front door. Once you've done that, you want to left click on the HUD here, and when you do that, this box should position itself onto the front door. Once it's positioned on the door, if you left click on it, you'll have this pop up here, and you just want to select res, and then it should start to res all the objects into its correct position. So that's how you can use add-ons for your premium home, and from here it's pretty much just a case of placing down furniture that you want to use. If you decide at some point that you want to change your home, that's something you can definitely do. If you decide later on that you want to have a different home, then you can always abandon the parcel and then go back onto the premium home site and then choose your new home from there. So that covers just about everything that I wanted to share with you in this video. I'm aware that I didn't go into any detail about how to run scripts or an experience. The reason for that is just because those are mainly useful when you're running a public sim where you expect to have traffic or people that are going to visit your sim. That's not the goal of this video. The goal of this video was just to show you how you can set up your own residential space or home. How you create and maintain a public sim, that's not something that I have a lot of experience with, but if that's something that you guys want to see me make a video about, I can definitely do some research on it. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching the video, and if you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more of these kinds of videos, then please subscribe to the channel. I do intend to create more of these videos because I do want to get more people involved in Second Life, so if you can subscribe to the channel, that will really help me out with YouTube's algorithm. So once again, thank you so much, and I'll see you around.